G'day guys, we've just quickly grabbed this Bigfoot trencher before the guys get it all wrapped up and sent off to its happy new customer. So congratulations if you're receiving your new trencher. A few things just to check when you first get it. You want to check that all your nuts and bolts are all secure. They haven't come loose for whatever reason. So that's just a quick check, everything around here, that all your nuts and bolts are nice and secure. You will have a frame that's going to bolt on here, whether that be a skid steer frame, a tractor frame, or a hitch for your excavator. So you will lock that into position through these clamp plates. Your operator's manual will be located here on your danger bar. Grab that. Check your hydraulic couplings. Make sure they're secure and they're in the right position for you and the operation of your machine. If you need it to, you want to push that button and it's going backwards, you just simply swap your couplings over and that'll give you the different direction in the direction that you want to push that button. So check that. Check that your hoses are in good condition. They haven't been damaged in transit. Hoses will be free from oil. They don't travel with oil in there, so you will lose a little bit of hydraulic oil from your host machine, and check that you don't need to top that back up. So the oil from your machine only travels through the hydraulic motor. It doesn't actually go into the gearbox. The gearbox is a separate oil container. That oil in there is gearbox oil. It's not from your host machine, which is your hydraulic oil. So check your spring tension simply by lifting up here. Make sure that it's still returning back into position. Check your pins are in their position and that everything is straight and hasn't been damaged in transit. So then you're getting ready to operate. Decide if you need to do a 900, 750 or 600 deep trench. Put it into the right location by undoing these couple of bolts. Slide it to the appropriate depth that you want and lock it back in nice and tight. So for you guys that you've used it a while, it's done some trenching, it's done some kilometers, each day you want to check that all your bolts and rollers holding on your teeth are in good condition. They're not excessive wear. You will get wear in those, they are a wear spot, but just check that they're not going beyond their serviceable life. So it's a visual check in there that you're going to check all those nuts and bolts for signs of breaking or potentially going to break if they've worn too far. Check that your tension on your chain is correct. You want about 15 mil of flex in that chain coming up, closing up that gap to make sure that you've got the right tension. Too loose, you run the risk of the chain coming off and you're getting chain slop, or too tight and you're putting excessive load on your nose roller. Check your nose roller. Check that you haven't got excessive scratching or wearing on the nose roller, so that if you're getting a flat spot, that's indicating that the nose roller is not turning. So you need to then take this, slacken off your boom so that your chain is loose, take your nose roller off, check the bearing. That is a replaceable bearing. It is sealed, but obviously the nose roller is the hardest life of any part on the trencher. It's doing all the work right up the front, and that power is trying to compress that whole boom in. So constantly, every day, you want to check that nose roller, make sure it's in serviceable condition. So we're going to jump over to the other side here and have a look at how you adjust that chain, and a couple of things you need to check on that side as well. So on this side, when you go to adjust your chain, whether that's to loosen it, most likely to tighten it, you've got a built-in spanner here. We've located this spanner, and that is undone with these two bolts that secure it to the boom. It comes away. You remove the locking washer from around the nut, which is at the back of the boom, and that spanner simply tightens or loosens that inner bar, which will push the boom out or pull the boom in to allow you to get extra tension on that. So again, that's about a 15 mil flex in the chain is a nice, correct way to tighten that chain. When you're back here, again, once it's been used and you've done a X amount of kilometers of trenching, you want to be checking your drive sprocket. Your drive sprocket back here, that's where all that power from the planetary gearbox is being delivered to the chain. So again, that's a serviceable part, that's a wear part, it's going to wear out. You need to be checking that to make sure that you've still got life in that sprocket and that you're going to get good contact between the sprocket and the chain to deliver that power. Depending on if you're in very sandy condition or clay, will determine how quickly that wears. So behind that sprocket, there is a seal protector and then your oil seal for your gearbox for your major services. You would remove your spoil auger, remove your sprocket, remove the seal protector to get to that hydraulic oil change. If you're going to do that yourself, otherwise book it into our service department and they'll get it done for you. For you guys who are going to conduct your own oil change, very simple, very easy on a trencher. You have 3 fill and drain points around your housing, your input housing here, the bottom of the bell motor. So you got one at 12 o'clock, one at 1 o'clock, and then one at 6 o'clock. So to drain it out, you undo all 3 and drain out that oil and catch it into a container and dispose of it environmentally. Then come time to fill it, you're going to fit the 6 o'clock plug back in. You're going to start filling through the 12 o'clock plug with the gear oil that you can buy from our service department. You start filling it through here. Once you notice a weep out of the 1 o'clock position, you know you're at the correct level of oil. Tighten up your 1 o'clock, tighten up your 12 o'clock, wipe it down, check that you've got no leaks, and you've done your oil change. So again, just visually check around here that you've got no visual signs of damage, your auger's in good condition, you haven't got excessively bent flights or anything like that. Again, checking all your nut heads here, checking your drive pins here on the trencher, making sure they're all in condition. Make sure your clips are all in position and your bolts and nuts and swivel points for your head start crummer bar. So once you've done all those checks, quickly go over it each day. You should have lots of serviceable life out of your Bigfoot trencher. And if you need more information, look us up on the website, check us out on social, give us a call, only too happy to help.